What's happening?
What's going on, man?
Not too much, man. Not too much. Wild day today, man. I'll tell you what. It was a lot of movement, but it wasn't the easiest day to trade. That's for sure. At least not for me. I definitely had some ups and downs. I started out down early, but I did end up green, so green is good.
Okay. Yeah, I was I was rocking and rolling, man. I'm not gonna lie. I was playing, inside out. So I hit some pretty sweet trades using our levels, and but I was in there shooting like Kobe, so I was starting to get to the point where I thought I couldn't miss. So that's why I was like, "You got to tell me to stop, man, because I can't stop."
That was me on Tuesday.
So I was like, "Yeah, let me stop because the areas keep getting tested, and I ended up taking a short. But once again, just like the other day, if I would have just kind of let that short ride, I would have been good to go because the last play I took when we came up to that 58 20 22 area, I shorted. But the thing was, I shorted it early. So if you look at the 30-minute, I didn't wait for the retest. I took it initially, so it kind of bounced back up to it. And whereas, I mean, once again, it was still nice. Don't get me wrong, because it was over 10. It was
Right.
over 10 points. You know what I mean? But if I would have waited and took it, or if I would have just held, yeah, as you can see, it literally just fell out the bottom. But I mean, it was over 10 points, so I can't really be upset about it, right?
No, not really. Not really. Would have, could have, and should have, man.
Right. And so from there, that's when I was like, okay, let me stop. Because I was like, because if it keeps going, down, I'm like, if we break back under 5,800, then we could really see a sweet play down to the bottom, and you just don't know because you remember we have that. And I'm jumping ahead because we're supposed to be walking through this, right?
It's all right.
But that 57, 44, 75, which we've been holding that area, right? And but I knew if we get a strong push up under 5,800 again, I figured we would start to go test those lows, which we did. And It ended up actually breaking the lows there. So,
broke and tested the next level and bounced off it. I mean, to the T almost, 2 ticks past, something like that. Not far. And that level is all the way from back. We're going to extend out to 4 hours for this guy.
So yeah, it was
Yeah, that level's from back in November. So the market has a long memory, not just a memory. Yeah, that's something that went back months and months and months. So definitely got to keep those in mind. So let's have a look at the daily. We're not going to do any educational stuff today. We were a little busy, so we didn't have time to put anything together. But tomorrow we'll pick that back up. What were we looking to do for tomorrow? Oh, how news moves the market. So that's what we'll do tomorrow. So I'll put something together. So we'll get back on the educational stuff then. So today we'll just go through the charts real quick, look at what happened, look at what could happen tomorrow, that whole thing. Let's start here on the daily, on the ES. Once again, we're playing around these key levels that we've had here for a while. We broke down this 59.39, which is more like 59.25 is where it really should be. So somewhere in that area. We broke that the other day, and we're just kind of continuing to drift down now to our other levels that we've had set, here for an extended period of time. We'll put that 45 on this chart. This isn't my normal chart, so I don't have everything marked in this one, but you can see that little low back there. Boom, we tested it almost to the T. Bounced off it a little bit. Got a little choppy this afternoon. We kind of, but it was a wide chop. Like it was a wide range. There was very tradable range. When we zoom in a little bit, let's see what we got for tomorrow. Let's take out this overnight level. Take out this caution level. Set this guy out. We're going to keep this level here at the 57.25. Maybe drop it down to the low from today. So let's go ahead and do that. And think we could probably. So this was the trade that you were sort of talking about when you came up and tried to retest this little breakdown area from the bottom. I think that 50 area. So yeah, definitely look at that tail on that thing. It's a very very nice move, quick move too. So that's always fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes the shorts, they go down much. The shorts seem to go down a lot faster than a bullish market rises. So a lot of times that's good for your mental game, and it's nice to see your winners work out fast rather than sit around and wait on them. So let's see. We'll look at this 58.21 as an upside potential. I had this area here, but I don't like that any longer. We're going to take that out. We could do something, I think. Let's kind of expand this a little bit so it doesn't look so condensed, because this really isn't as close as it looks. We could put something here at the 58.69. That gives you about 15 points that we could run up. That's definitely tradable range there. So go ahead and mark that. And we can make an argument maybe for this 58.53. You get about 16 or 13, or geez, I can't do math today. 16 points from there as well. So definitely another tradable range. That draw 30-minute highs. As far as something closer for overnight, obviously we had this huge tail right here. If you want to go the bull side, I don't know if you want to go the bull side right now because we are feeling pretty bearish. So that's a pretty risky move there, but there is a little pocket here that we could fill maybe to head back up. So we'll kind of I'll put it as a caution level for me, but somebody's watching stuff for tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty tough because I'm looking at definitely like that 57.80 could really give some issues. I mean, we was kind of trading off that when you look at the day, kind of bouncing off that 57.80 area. So that might be a little tough.
It got really choppy off through that. Really,
honestly, it's a little tough because of the range of the day. If this was a regular day, 14 points by any stretch of the imagination is awesome. That's the sweet spot, Actually,
for sure.
Yeah, 6 to 10 is what I typically try to shoot for. But yeah, this is crazy. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
Any other levels to add at all?
Let me see.
We got 57.20, 57.68 is a caution area. 58.21 is probably our next bull level. And then then we get some tight ones up here, kind of tight, at least for the race.
Well, I mean, it's
but
regular day is not really that tight, but I guess
no. Actually, those would be awesome levels, regular types of days. But we're
right.
We're in 100-point range days right now, so we'll see how much longer this continues. I do want to go back and just show our daily chart one more time. We have that gap down below here that I've been talking about, I think, since day one. It really feels like we're going to probably test that thing now at this point. But I mean, it's the next level down if we break this low from today. So I would definitely think your 56.79. You could look at gap mid at 56.60, and then the gap low, 56.35. So that's actually a bigger gap than what it looks like because we're on a daily chart here, so it's a little bit larger. I do want to add one. I just want to see what this looks like. I'm going to put one dynamic level on here and just see how. So what I just put on there is something called an anchored VWAP, and it judges price movement with the time and how much volume has been trading. And the fact that this thing is like straight down, I mean, that's pretty much saying that this is a real legit move that we're getting that has volume behind it. So definitely be cautious on the bull side, I think, for time being. I think I mentioned yesterday, if we get back above this, don't know why my charts aren't saving. I know I'm using the same one here, but I know I mentioned the 6,023 would probably be the area for longer term bulls that I would probably get back in on the bull side, at least to give something a try. But nothing until then, honestly. So be super cautious, in my opinion. Other than that, I think we're good on the ES. There's not really anything else I'm super interested in. Let's go ahead and look at oil.
Your bud of the day.
Yeah. Actually, I did well on oil today. It fought me a little to start, but it ended up paying, so we'll take it. I'm not too mad at it. So what we did, we came down again. I don't know why my charts aren't saving, but we've had this level mark for days. 65.27 went there to the tick. Not a coincidence. It stopped there, started to bounce up a little bit. Again, let's throw another UF on here. So yeah, we're moving down pretty nicely. On the bull side, for longer term trading, you're looking at 70.60 probably is the first legit spot. That would be our first resistance that we'd clear. You'd want to see it kind of come above that, play around a little bit, test it, hold, and then maybe you could get long and start to work back up the levels some. Take it out. Maybe if I save it, it would help. I don't think I'm going to save it. As far as daily levels, I think we're good there for now. We won't get too crazy into those. Let's have a look at let's start with a 2 hour, and then we'll chop it down a little bit. So we got a nice W pattern forming here. You can see it, one little W coming. So if we started to kind of creep back up, we have, let's take this out. We have 67.08, which is too darn close to 67.24 for me. So 67.24 would be my bull line in the sand level, I guess, that we would want to see. I want to see it come above it. Since we are in the bearish market, kind of the same thing that I talked about on the daily. We want to see it go above a little bit and then start testing this and holding. It'll probably go above, come back below a little bit, and then when it starts to work back above that, once again, that's probably the decent entry point for that. You got to be patient with these things. Markets are kind of like big, huge, like oil tankers. They take a long time to turn. They're not going to turn right away. So we've been moving down. For the turn to happen, we got to wait for that rudder to shift and the whole ship to turn. So it takes a little bit of time. Let it work itself out, before you start jumping in on the long side. Let's look at the 30 a little. Drop that down a little to the low of yesterday. Could make an argument for the 65.58 level. I don't love that. I got to be honest with you. I think that's just too close to the other bottom. I would probably wait for this to break, because if we're starting to get in the area now where we're stuck with some of these lows start to fall, we're going to start to see some maybe big moves, like big ones. Which oil can get super fun when that starts to happen. But we'll see. We'll see if it starts to break down. We can get into the 50s legitimately if that big flag breaks. But we will let the market dictate that. We're not going to predict it too much. We just want to be ready to react at these levels is kind of the key to trading. So let's go. Let's mark this area.
Yeah, oil's getting real tough for me. Meaning
it's in a weird spot right now.
Yeah.
Like with all those daily lows, you got a lot of different competing forces in the market that are down there. You have a lot of long-term traders, and then you got your short-termers who are watching it go down too. So, it's a little difficult right now, honestly. That's why early it chopped me up a little bit, but I actually got long right here. See how this started to break? This was the overnight high, right? And so I was like, all right, we're breaking this overnight high. I thought we'd at least come up, test this 67.25 area. We almost got there. But then, it was like let's go down.
Yeah, and it dropped so quick.
Look at this. Crazy. It was on the 2-minute chart, you can see. This is a matter of 8 minutes, 10 minutes. That was a 10-minute drop. We went from 67.08 all the way down to 65.78. So we got that's an enormous move in that time frame. So So after I saw that happen, I kind of waited and I let it come back up a little bit. You know what it actually did? It actually retested the breakout zone to the T, and that's where I got short, and that's where I made the majority of my money for today, honestly. And we always talk about that trade where it comes back and retests those breakout areas. This was a perfect example of that. Let's zoom back out a little bit, though. As far as other levels go, I could make a decent argument for 66.18 on the downside, maybe. But again, we're in a kind of a weird area here, so be cautious with it. Don't hold it too long. Maybe look to the 66.
I mean, I got that area, but
yeah, that doesn't give you a lot of room to
I don't
play
like
with.
the way it's sitting right on top of it right now, currently.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would have to look at the open overnight.
We'll mark it yellow because I would never trade that. But this upside one, I might think about maybe. Not tonight. I'm probably not going to do anything tonight. But if you were looking to do something, you can maybe get a little run, kind of back up. Got a little bit of. If that happens, we would have a lower or a higher low, which is sort of a signal that we might be trying to turn a little bit. So, not a horrible trade. You can make worse ones if you got long here at this 66.60 area, let's call it. Did you have any other levels on oil that you've been looking at?
No, that's really it.
Okay. I think that's pretty good, honestly. I think that's pretty solid there. The big key one on the downside is this 65, 65.23-ish. So if we start breaking that down, we can start getting pretty good. Let's get some potential targets. Gosh, you could get easy 63.
Whew.
Yeah. There's a nice, if that goes, there's a nice little gap there. So we'll see what happens. And then if that falls, that's when I showed this yesterday, but I'll show it again. That's when it's going to get really, if the 61.68 falls, that's where it's going to get interesting. Let's mark that. Let's make it big and fat so we know it's important. And then let's save it so tomorrow it's on there, so I have to keep putting it on there every single day. Yeah, that goes. I mean, we're looking at a nice drop then from there, but time will tell on that. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves. Let's play this level to level. So let's start with these. See where we go. See where we work tomorrow. Let's go ahead and have a glance at the gold. And we are continuing on this failed breakout that we had. We're kind of continuing up. We do have 2 inside days now after we work back in, which is that's going to make this low from today pretty key, honestly, because we're going to be retesting that area then. We'll zoom in on that here in a second. We'll obviously catch this level too on the little bit more zoomed in charts. Take that guy out. Those are pretty close. I'll probably leave that. So this level here, which was our overnight low, probably be, yeah. So this would probably be the key bearish area. As far as that failed breakout or failed breakdown goes, if this gets penetrated, that sort of could invalidate this little move that we have coming back in. And then we have the lower high structure that's going on at that point. And so you could say the daily is probably turned bearish at that time. And we have, once again, just kind of like the ES, we have a gap that's sitting there below. So if that falls, the odds are pretty good that we're going to test that gap area, I think. Let's see what other levels might be interesting. Go ahead, Jeff.
Just moving. No, just noting how it's moving sideways. We just refuse to break out of this area.
Yep. That's the 2 day. We had 2 days of overlapping, 2 days of inside days. So when we say an inside day, what we're talking about is so bigger. So this candle here, these two candles now have traded inside of this one that was kind of breaking up. So when we say inside days, that's what we're talking about. It may have slightly peaked above there, but it's essentially two inside days that have happened there. So that's like Adrian just said, that's signaling consolidation, and you can see it clear as day on the 30-minute chart. There's a big consolidation area there. So the major move is probably going to happen once the high or the high or that low there break. So that was sort of what I was pointing out. I don't love this 29.16. This would be an aggressive short. If you wanted to take that, you could probably take it down into this 29.06-ish. Make it yellow. Just because it would only be a target for me. So if it starts to fall down, that's where I'd be looking to get out. Upside for me, you can. I don't love that. I'm not gonna take that. Probably 29.42. Honestly, is what and that would still be like a big push that we've had. So it would be tough, honestly, for that to carry on much more unless there's some kind of news. We do have unemployment numbers that are not unemployment. We have employment, just employment numbers that are coming out, not unemployment per se, but there's employment numbers that are coming out tomorrow morning at 8:30. So that could move it. And that may be why we've been consolidating a little bit. Folks, the longer term traders could be waiting to see what's going to come out on that report. There's been a lot of cuts across the government and cuts across the nation. If you've been following the news, I mean, lots of companies are cutting right now. So I think that employment report is going to be interesting. It could be one of our first misses in a while, but we shall see. The ADP came in a little bit lighter than what they thought the other day, so that's usually kind of a signal of what's going to come out on the Friday report. So I don't know what for sure will come out, but I have a feeling that there could be some folks that are waiting on that with gold to see what they want to do next. If we do see some weakness there could be a flight to safety, which would mean gold would probably get a little boost on that. So pay attention 8:30 tomorrow. Don't have any trades on for sure at 8:30 tomorrow. Keep the slate clean. Let the news hit. We're going to talk about this tomorrow more in detail, but there is a big release tomorrow, so make sure let the news hit. Let it marinate a little bit. Let the market kind of work out and digest what the news is before you start jumping into things tomorrow. Wait at least 5-10 minutes after that release until you start getting crazy active with it. Do you have any other levels you're interested in on gold at all?
No, that's
pretty basic. I mean, we're in a consolidation area, so there's not a ton to point out. Unfortunately, you're just watching the high of the consolidation and the low of the consolidation. Those are your main key areas. All the stuff in between. These are much tougher trades. They're going to chop around on you. So if you want those clean, like nice, good moves, those would be the levels that you really want to focus on. So, any other charts that we want to look at today?
I didn't get any questions about any charts that people wanted us to go over. I'm trying to think.
I will say, let's go back to the daily just to peek at some of these big names real fast that make up the S&P. Because we have a little time here, so
all I see is red, man. Just
lots and lots of red. Look at all that red, man. Crazy. So Apple didn't get killed today, so that's good. That's the largest maker of the S&P 500, so that's a decent sign. Now Amazon, on the other hand, is getting crushed here, so they're on a straight little intermediate downtrend, probably coming in to test these old highs from the looks of it. So maybe around 188, we might see some action on it to kind of rebound a little bit. Do have some open gaps right there that you can see. Might want to fill those maybe. that's 190, so it's right in that same area. So might be a decent spot if you're looking for something on Amazon. 188. Microsoft, same thing. We had a little kind of topping pattern here happening. We had this big peak, and then we had, it's almost like a sort of like a modified head and shoulders. I bet if we went like a weekly or monthly, it would stick out a little bit more. It does. Okay, so a head and shoulder. So we have right shoulder, or I'm sorry, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And then we would be looking at, and this is a more advanced chart pattern that we didn't really cover in our first chart pattern things, but this could be something that we'll cover later. So it tried to penetrate that today. If we lose that tomorrow, Microsoft could be in for some down days, or at least a down day or two. Once again, we got an old high right here that they broke out from and never really retested. So that could be something maybe that it wants to do. Go down and test 350. So that might be a decent spot if you're looking to maybe get long on some individual stocks. Microsoft at 350 might not be bad. Meta, look at that on the weekly. Whew, that is ugly. That's fugly. That's not just ugly. But we are coming into a little spot here. We see we got the breakout zone here. We're testing it now. Maybe Meta will lead the charge back up. I don't know. We're in an area where it could. That's for sure. If we get back above maybe this 660, let's say 659. We got a little W that's forming there, so maybe we could get a little push back up towards these highs. So you could do a little swing trade off of that. You could do, maybe even a longer term trade if you want to hold Meta for the future. Google's a mess. That is a mess. Holy cow. So we had a fake breakout is what happened on here, and then we gapped down back into it, which is nuts. Like with this, that's a huge gap too. Fell all the way back down, filled this old gap, came down. There's a little low down there that it might want to get some traction on. I don't think it will. I gotta be honest. I think it'll probably. You could be looking at 150 legitimately on Google. Pay attention to Google. Google's not looking very healthy right here, honestly. We'll see where it goes. Might get a little bounce back up for some recovery, and then it might start selling back down. And after that, to like the 150 area, especially if the whole market wants to keep rolling over. I think we could definitely see something like that. Netflix. Wow. It's like an island. Look at it. Island just kind of hanging around up there. We filled the gap today. So,
for sure.
We could keep drifting. I would bet maybe you'll get a little bounce on it, but must have had some kind of news or something. I didn't really check what the Netflix news was, but it's a big move down. $84 in one day, 9%. It's a huge move down on Netflix. So be very cautious on Netflix right now. I wouldn't get long on it at this point.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where it's getting tough to take longs, even with our setup systems and plans in place. You got to have tight stops on it at this point. Going against the market, the way it's been driving down, it's kind
absolutely.
So always, have your plan. Make sure that you have your stops set. And stick to your plan.
Good risk reward trades. That's what we're looking for.
Good risk reward trades.
And use scaling on stuff like this. You can scale out and take some of the risk off, and then you can maybe if you want to hold something longer for longer term, then do it that way. But I would definitely be scaling. I would be protecting your capital on any long play on any of those names that we just showed right there.
Yes.
All right, let's show Bitcoin real fast. Even though I don't do much with it, we'll still have a little glance at it. So what have we done here? We have.
And then I guess while you're pulling it up, especially I guess the question that was asked, that I put here, are the tariffs driving the market up or down? Because I'm pretty sure people are seeing that the tariffs are on. Now the tariffs are paused. Is the whole tariff talk
Yes and no. It is driving it, but so like 90%, maybe that's a little exaggerated. About 80% of the market is driven by algorithms, which are computer generated programs that buy and sell off of certain signals that you get. And there are algorithms out there that are news based. So the news algos are what you're seeing bounce up and down when you see these various news releases that come out, especially on tariffs here recently. So the news algos are what drive it up and down. I don't think normal non-algo long-term traders are paying any attention to that tariff stuff anymore because one, this is what he did the first term. I mean, there was you would get a market sell-off day, and then the next day you'd get a Trump tweet about a potential trade deal in China. And this happened like over and over and over again for almost for his entire term. So this is just kind of how the Trump presidency works with the market. You're going to get some volatility, but honestly, the volatility works for day traders. It helps us a little bit too. So, having large ranges, gives you a lot more room to play with. So it's not the worst thing for day traders. It does get you caught in some weird stuff, here and there. So you got, like Adrian said a little bit ago, make sure you have those stops in place. But I don't think you're not going to see, unless there's like official, like signed tariffs have gone into effect and they're like really, really doing it. I don't think you're really going to see a huge impact on the market from tariff news. I think it's almost like the boy who cried wolf type deal at this point. You know what I mean? Like we've just heard it so often that people are kind of just blowing it off. I know I'm blowing it off at this point, and I imagine other traders are as well. But the news-based algos will not, because they're reading keywords in the news. So that's what they're triggering off of when they see that kind of stuff. So yeah, so Bitcoin here, we tried to break down a little. We had the little pop up, from the crypto reserve currency news that we got, which that was new news. That was fresh. So that got some action and some movement from people. But then we came in the next day and we sold it. So it sold the entire move and some. Now we're trying to test back into this little consolidation zone that we had going here. This looks bearish to me. I got to be honest. Like you got 1-2 peaks here. We're starting to drift back down below, the low of that consolidation area. This actually looks a little bit bearish. Our next logical area would be around 73,000, maybe, if you want to get long Bitcoin, if you're looking to reload at some point, like 75, 73 might be a decent spot. But you have this that trade may have already happened right here, though, so be cautious with that. See the tail that happened. I mean, that's not too far off the 73 at 78.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can make an argument down there. If you're looking long term on Bitcoin, you can start to sort of load up down around there. If you're Holdell, one of those folks. All right. Anything else you want to look at?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Cool. Well,
yeah, I think we're good. There we go, man.
All right. Let's call it an episode. We'll get back on the educational stuff tomorrow. Like I said, I sort of started to talk news stuff today. Now I kind of wish I would have did the news presentation before this, and I didn't have any plans of talking news at all. But tomorrow we'll get to that in depth, how various things move the markets and how you should trade them and stuff like that. So we'll hit that.
There you go. You introduced it. So
Yep.
We're looking forward to it.
So with that being said, let's call it an episode and wait for our 10-second awkward moment here of